Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's we'll be reviewing this Toyota Tundra TRD Pro with some miles, and we're going to talk about whether or not the new Toyotas are actually reliable. There's been a lot discussed with these new Toyotas and issues, so anyways, we'll talk about all of it in today's video. Before we get in this video, a huge shout out and thank you to the Southtown Mitsubishi for giving me some time with this truck. Link to their website in the description down below. Let's get into it. So powering this is the hybrid twin-turbo 3.4 liter V6. It goes through a 10-speed. It puts out 437 horsepower and then 583 pound-feet of torque. Now the hybrid actually hasn't been all that problematic. I've spoken with a lot of people, and what they've told me is the non-hybrid is the one that has had most of the issues. The hybrid's actually been pretty reliable so far. That being said, some hybrids were affected by some of the machining fragment issues. But with all of that being said, from all the conversations I've had with people, what I have come to is that less than 1% of Toyota's new V6s were actually affected. And if you compare that to American automakers where they'll have a fail rate of well over 1%, it's actually not as bad as it seems. Now, before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So in this next portion of the video, I want to show some of the items on the truck and show kind of like general wear and tear. When it comes to the exterior, there's not a whole lot to really go over. I think this is probably on the original set of tires. It looks like this is over 30,000 miles, and I mean, they don't have a crazy amount of tread left, but they've got some left, which isn't too bad. This satin is actually held up pretty well. Same thing on the door handles too. And see how these shocks and everything perform after over 30,000 miles. Now I will say something that's quite impressive is the key fob still looks pretty much brand new. Some key fobs just wear out super fast. See, the bed has also held up really well. Tailgate function still works. This one was obviously used a little bit, but it's a truck. It's meant to be used. Yeah, when it comes to the exterior, just looking at it, doesn't look too different from a new one. I will say though, the frame looks completely fine, but there are a few bolts that have a little bit of rust showing them. But I mean, that, not a huge deal. Now, let's see how the interior has held up. So the door panel in the back looks great. Now, I don't know how much these seats were used. Actually, probably not at all. They still have, I don't know if the dealership put that here, but front seat, or back seats rather, look pretty much brand new. We'll see how the front come in. So this is the driver door panel. This is going to have the most wear. Let's see the door. And it makes a little bit of a sound. It's typical of Toyotas. I know, because I own a Toyota with over 30,000 miles. Yeah, everything looks fine here. You can see a little bit of wear on the seat. That's kind of come up a little bit. But the rest of the seat looks great. So that's good. Getting in is pretty easy. The steering wheel shows some hand wear. You can see the kind of glossy kind of look, and same thing with the shifter a little bit. This is a little bit more creaky than stock brand new, but the brand new one still kind of creaks. That's just the modern Toyota thing. They use a lot of plastic with these new ones. But yeah, looking at the rest of the interior, I mean, everything looks great, actually, including the headliner and all of that. So, and let's quickly show you guys the miles. So, sorry, I'll clear that out. You can see right there, 33,791 miles. This is a 2023, by the way. So with that being said, let's take this out and see how everything performs. Take this out for a spin. And I don't think this is a, I didn't look at the Carfax or anything, but my guess is this probably came from a wetter climate than Utah, because usually you don't see that type of rust on some of the elements here in Utah. But like if a car comes from like Hawaii or the East Coast, yeah, a lot of times you'll see surface rust like that, just because of the, especially by the ocean, just because of the humidity and everything. Again, as long as you keep the truck clean and make sure it doesn't spread to the frame, then it's not a deal. And some people just change the bolts. A little bit of a hassle, but well, used truck, right? Not new. If you want nothing with any wear and tear, you got to go and buy a new one. Used one's less money for a reason. So I'm actually pretty impressed with how well this is holding up. My wife and I own two previous gen Toyotas. We have a 2021 Sequoia and a 2020 Land Cruiser. The Sequoia has almost 40,000 miles on it. We'll be doing a review on that pretty soon. And then the Land Cruiser has 27,000 miles on it, something like that. So I won't have an update on that for quite some time because I need to put more miles on it. But what I've noticed so far, these new Toyotas, other than like there is definitely more plastic, it seems like the interior and everything's holding up about as well as the previous gen. But one benefit that I note about the plastic is you don't have to worry about rust with these new Toyotas. It's like people complain about plastic, but then, you know, you never have to worry about rust with having tons of plastic. Engine performance is strong. Yeah, I'm really intrigued to see how this engine holds up over time, because if this new turbo V6, or just Toyota's turbo engines in general, if they end up being as reliable as the previous engines, then I think everyone's gonna... It's the same thing that happened with the last shift when they went from the, you know, 4.7 V8 and everything, from, you know, 100 series Land Cruiser to 200. They went from... those Toyotas were like tanks, right? The early 2000s Toyotas were all metal, really well built, and there was a lot of controversy. But now you look at it and people love the 5th gen 4Runner. People love the 200 series Land Cruiser. So I think we're gonna have a similar situation with this generation of Toyota, where people are kind of iffy on it because there's been some initial kinks to work out. But if those things end up just being little kinks, I think people are going to want the new stuff, because the drivability is quite a bit better than the previous gen for a few reasons. So first off, the torque, and don't get me wrong, I love my 5.7 V8s, but the torque that this provides is really good. It's smooth too. With the hybrid's the way to go. I know it's more money, but the extra low end torque that you get, I think that it's worth it. It's quite impressive to drive. Yeah, I will say shocks and everything seem to be holding up pretty well. The thing about Fox shocks is kind of a higher performance shock, so you know you're gonna have to rebuild them eventually, probably at like, I mean, it depends on the use. It could be anywhere from like 25,000 to 50,000 to 75,000 miles, just depending on the use of the shock. Yeah, this seems to be doing quite well so far. Something else that I like about the new Toyotas is the insulation they provide. Like, just giving you guys an idea, I have a 250 Land Cruiser that is about as insulated as my 200 series. So, like, this new Tundra is more insulated than the previous Tundra. You get less from the outside, which is nice. I mean, part of it's just thicker glass and all that. Helps out quite a bit. And you know, I always go back and forth. It's like, how insulated do you want a car? Because you want to be able to, like, if you're driving, you want to be able to hear what's happening outside a little bit, but also, you know, even this is enough to where I still know what's going on. You almost never have to go above 2,000 RPMs. It's quite impressive. It's quite impressive. It pipes in audio, but the piped in audio sounds good enough, so it's like, who cares? So, in summary, I think that this performs really well, and I think this has held up well so far. I mean, again, I'll try to, you know, try to get a review of one with some higher miles as people put more miles on these new Toyotas, but you know, first just over 30,000 miles, and it seems like, although it's showing a little bit of wear, it seems like it's holding up pretty darn well. So Let me guys think about the new Toyotas. Let me think about the new Tundra. Are you surprised or not surprised by the wear and tear that these new Toyotas are showing? Is it good enough for you? I mean, for me, again, like I said, it's other than a little bit of rust, because this was probably like an East Coast vehicle or something, it seems to be showing about as much wear as what I've seen with the previous gen, which I think that's good enough.